Hey sixth graders, don't forget we always start class by doing 15 minutes of Moby Max. So if you have done that, awesome, you can keep watching the video. But if you have not done that yet, make sure you pause here, sign into Moby Max, and do your language lesson for today. So we are transitioning from hearing read-alouds, examining different genres, types of writing, and getting ideas for our own writing, to picking one of our drafts and developing it into a published book. At this point, we should all have picked a draft that we want to publish into a book. I'll refer to this as your first draft of your book. In the coming days, I'll take you through the steps of finishing your first draft, revising it, checking it for correctness, and writing a final version to make the book. Once we finish our final books, we'll read our completed books to the class and then put it in our library for others to read. Throughout this process, you may not always be working on the same step of the writing process at the same time. Some of you may be revising your first draft while others are illustrating their final versions. This is to be expected. You'll need to be able to work independently and take responsibility for working on and completing your own book. As a class, we're going to discuss how we can positively contribute to the writing community during this writing process time. So the first question we're going to discuss is what might be challenging about working independently when people are working on different things. So some things that we might discuss as a class is you can't easily ask for help. Usually you just turn to the people around you and ask, so they won't always be able to clarify things for you. You might feel behind if you are finishing your draft, but someone next to you is working on their final illustrations. You have to work really hard at staying focused on your work and not getting distracted by what other people are doing. And if you're feeling behind, then you might feel like you should rush. So it's going to be a challenge to not just start rushing through your work in order to get to the same step as people around you. The next question we're going to discuss as a class is, why is it important for you to take responsibility for working on and completing your own book? So some things that we might talk about is if you watch what other people are doing, you'll get behind in your own work. Your work and effort is reflected in your grade, so you want to make sure you do a good job and stay focused. And if you're helping others all the time, then you're going to get behind with your book. Since we're going to have so many people in different parts of the writing process, the last question we're going to discuss is if you're not sure what to do next, what can you do? So the answer to that, of course, is to ask the teacher. Ask me what you should be doing. Because like we discussed earlier, the people around you might be in a different part of the writing process and they don't know what you should do next. So always ask me if you're unsure. Today, for independent writing time, I want you to reread your draft as I read these questions. Does your writing make sense? What parts might you want to check again to make sure they make sense? What still needs to be added to your first draft for it to be finished? What else might a reader want to know about when he or she is reading your piece? Read the last sentence of your piece. Does it feel like an ending? What more can you write to make it feel like an ending? So as you reread your drafts, keep those questions in mind to help you know what you need to do next to finish it. In class, after people finish rereading their drafts and considering those questions, then we are going to meet with our writing partners so you can discuss your thinking with them and they can help give you feedback. So one more time, with your writing partners in class today, you're discussing your responses to the questions on the screen. Once you are finished discussing your thinking and responses to the questions and getting feedback from your writing partner, then it will be time to work independently on developing your draft. Our goal for writing today is to finish your draft to make sure you have included everything you want to say at this point in your stories.